May 1927, in a small town in County Louth, Mary Callan, the priest's housekeeper, went missing. Her young colleague, Gerard Toal, was the suspect. There was no trace of Mary Callan for over a year, until a body was found in a quarry, located 500 yards from the priest's house. "84 years ago is a long time, especially in a very small parish in the smallest county in Ireland. This parish is famous for two things: St. Bridget and one of the most grisly murders of the 20th century. Mary Callan was found dead in a bag in Falmore Quarry in May 1928, over there." Gerard Toal was raised an orphan in Artane after being caught stealing from a store in Dundalk. Father James McKeown of Fart gave the young man a second chance after hiring him as a handyman around the parochial house. Jackie and Maura Callan bought the house from the church in 1988.
I've been working here in this house down through the years for years, and it was you were always listening to rumours and listening to different conflicting stories and tales about the place, that you just let a lot go over your head. And as a youngster, I worked here during the time of serving my time at the painting, and I worked here at night on my own. Even I worked at different stages, so it was no new coming to here in a way for myself.
I never really had a fear, and I still don't have a fear. Now, I would be scary of the living, or not scary of the dead.
Toal was renowned for being a prankster, and some of the stories about his pranks are still remembered today.
He was only 18 years of age. He was a bit of a prankster. He was a terrible thing to be at that time. He was an outsider here in the country. He knew a bit more than the other lads around. You know, for instance, my father could tell me, my mother could tell me, they often saw him walking past our house there on stilts, which was something completely different, you know. He could do jiu-jitsu, as they called it at the time, a sort of a karate now, you know. Who else could do that in the country at the time?
When he'd leave the priest sometimes at the station, he'd take the car home. Priest would have him take the car home, and he had a collar, a Roman collar in his pocket, and the priest would have a hat in the back of the car. I don't know how the hat would come to be there, right? But apparently there was a hat in the car. Maybe the priest had two hats, I don't know. But Jerry come driving the car home, have the hat on and the collar on, and sure the people would be the people in those days they'd always salute the priest, you know. So they'd be saluting the priest, and the ladies would be bowing and so on. And like they'd see this big car coming, they'd know the car all right, and so they'd be, I suppose that maybe before they'd be properly gone by, they'd have realised what was going on. So Jerry'd be enjoying it and so on. I was an awful villain too for a night. The priest was a guard to the crows below in the rookery. He could climb trees, no bother, run up like a monkey, and go from one to the other. Well, I don't know about too much of that, but he'd moved eggs from or the fledglings from one nest to the other, you know, and the crows would go demented, and the poor priest would be worried about what's wrong with the crows, Jerry, and that. Don't know, Father. And he's that kind of a guy now.
It is common knowledge that Gerard Toal and Mary Callan had a frayed relationship. A neighbour recalls what he believes to have been the moment when this petty feud turned sinister.
Mary was doing a line with a fella called Joe McCarter from over the road, and a night or two nights before this event, they were out walking around, and it was raining. So when they came back, they decided to stand into the garage out of the rain. It wasn't usual for a priest's housekeeper, or any young one indeed at that time. The priest's instructions were she was to be back before 10. And that was law. And on this particular night, of course Jerry knew that, and Jerry happened to see them going into the garage. My father told me. So he locked them in the garage and didn't let them out until, I don't know what time, but maybe an hour after 10 o'clock, you know. So my father always felt that this, the next day or the day after, whatever it was, might just have created a bit of a row between Mary, the girl who was murdered, and Jerry. Of course, Mary was much older than him.
Almost 12 months after Mary's disappearance, the remains of her body were found in a corn sack, tied by the sleeve of a shirt at the bottom of the eerie Falmore Quarry. The body was badly decomposed, and the limbs and the head were severed completely from the torso. Suspicion fell on Gerard Toal after parts of Mary's bicycle and watch were found in his bedroom.
Why would any man carve up his victim? Why would any man do such a thing, only that there was something terribly wrong with him? He obviously had to be a serial killer.
Local rumour has it that Gerard Toal has been accused of committing several murders in the parish around that same time. 8-year-old Bridget McLernan was taken from that very same quarry just 2 months before Mary's disappearance.
Again, when we pressed my father, who, remember, was living here always, on top of the hill, knew Jerry, knew the priest, he was next door. There was no other houses on the road. By nature of his work, which was a ganger with the county council, he would be out on bicycle, up and down the road. He wasn't working in a field, you know. So, the day after the murder, and we were saying to him, well, what happened, or did you see anything? And he said, well, the day after the murder, I was coming up the road past the priest's house, and Jerry was standing out at the back of the sheds, out of sight of the house, with another man. And so we, of course, curiosity completely took over, and who was it? Who was it? And he said, that's all you're hearing. At the very end of his trial, of course, he was asked had he anything to say, and he said, well, there are other people who have more to lose than I have. Maybe the truth is hidden in the folklore, you know.
Gerard Toal was charged only for the murder of Mary Callan and stood trial in 1928. After the jury's request for a manslaughter verdict had been rejected, Toal was found guilty of murder. At 8 a.m. on August the 29th, 1928, Gerard Toal was escorted to the execution chamber, and without any resistance, Gerard Toal was then hanged by the decision of the state.